Good evening. I'm your host, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, the women's pet, the men's regret, where what you see is what you get and what you don't is better yet, John Arhitis. And I'm back here at Hudson Media Group for the Jersey City Mayoral debate, the last debate of the season. And we invited all 7 candidates, and 4 were able to attend this evening. Jim McGreevy and Council President Joyce Waterman, as well as Kalki Jane Rose, not in attendance, but we do have Christina Freeman, Musab Ali, James Solomon, and Bill O'Day. So without further ado, we're going to let these candidates introduce themselves, and we're going to do about 90 minutes. So best of luck, and here we go.
Good evening. My name is Christina Freeman, and I'm a lifelong resident of Jersey City. I'm a mother, an honors student studying sociology at NJCU, and a police officer for 6 years of service. I've walked these streets and responded to the calls and felt the struggle that so many residents face every day. I'm not a politician, I'm a servant, and my commitment is to the people and not to the politics. My priorities are clear: to make housing affordable, to keep families and lifelong residents here in Jersey City, to invest in our youth because they are our future, and also to strengthen the public safety, to bring community to the table in the decisions for their own safety. I'm running for mayor because it's time for leadership with heart, and that is for the people. Leadership that will stand up for Jersey City. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Musab?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Musab Ali, and I'm running to be the next mayor of Jersey City. I grew up in Jersey City and went to public schools here, PS6 in the Heights, Academy One Middle School in Greenville, right next to Snyder High School, and then I went to McNair Academic for high school. When I was 19 years old, I first ran for office, and I lost. But instead of taking my defeat, I ran again when I was 20 years old, and I was elected as the youngest person in city history. By the time I was 23 years old, the city elected me as the Board of Education president in the middle of a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. In that role, I canceled student lunch debt, increased minimum wage for teachers, and passed the first fully funded budget in over a decade. We are running on a campaign to make the city more affordable. That means we're going to build more housing to help lower your rent. We're going to build a fast and free bus system. And we're the only campaign that doesn't take money from city contractors or city vendors. And that means we keep our independence. Look, this city means everything to me. It's a city that had my back in my darkest days. Because when I was 23, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. But this city had my back, and now it's my turn to have yours.
Thank you, Musab. Councilman Solomon?
Thank you. So thank you to my colleagues who showed up. Thank you to John and Pat for hosting. My name is James Solomon, and I'm running to be your next mayor. And for me, I'm running because this city is so special. It's the place where I got engaged and married, I both got and beat cancer, where my 3 daughters were born, and now go to public school. And we deserve a Jersey City where its government is as good as its people. And today, we don't have that. We've had rent increase 50% in 5 years, property taxes increase 50% in 5 years, and you deserve a mayor who is laser focused on delivering an affordable Jersey City. And I can do that. We have a plan to build housing you can afford with rents at $1,000 a month and $1,500 a month by requiring developers to put 20% affordable in all large projects. We're going to cap rent increases, stabilize property taxes by going after corruption. And I'm the only candidate on the stage who takes no money from developers, and I have independence from the political machine so I can deliver an affordable Jersey City for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilman. And Commissioner O'Day.
County Commissioner Bill O'Day, lifelong Jersey City resident, born, raised, educated here, 35 years of elected legislative experience, first as a city councilman, now as a county commissioner for many years. My campaign is not just based on promises. It's based on a proven record of what I've done in the areas that I make promises. Whether it's voting against tax increases, whether it's working hands-on and putting together projects that contain affordable housing, whether it's 100% affordable housing or 20% affordable housing, which, like Councilman Solomon, I'm a firm supporter of, and I believe was the first on John Heinous' show, sitting here one day, to come out and saying that's what my position was. As it relates to independence, I beat the political machine. 1985, 1989, 1997, 1998, and 2002. Now, you can't fault me for them giving up trying to stop fighting me after I beat them 5 times. But I've always maintained my political independence. Just like when on the ICE issue, I stood up to them, got kicked out as the vice chair, thrown off committees because I was never afraid to stand up to those people that are in power. From a budget, we need to get control of our spending. I'm committed to creating a budget committee and making tough decisions on that. But the other thing I'm committed to is cutting my salary 20%. The buck starts here, the buck stops here, and if I cut my salary 20%, I'm going to set an example that cutting waste in government is critical to stabilizing the city budget.
Thanks, Commissioner. So just for the record, for the candidates and for the viewers, Council President Joyce Waterman just walked in, so we're going to mic her up. We're going to continue with the debate, but she will be participating in just a few moments. So with that, we started with Christina, obviously, on the intro, so then we'll go with Musab, and then James, and then Bill, and so on and so forth.
There's no warning.
All right, so...
Can I ask you a question? Are you going to warn us about when you only have so much time left?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
I'll put my hand up when there's 15
right.
seconds, okay?
Perfect.
Okay, great.
Sound good? All right. Okay, so now that we got that clarified, let's start talking about what's going on with the Jersey City Public Schools. So as you all well know, and probably everybody watching knows, the school budget is now over $1 billion, way more than what the municipal budget is. And, you know, there's been a lot of talk about collecting the payroll tax. Of course, there's been a lot of talk about school funding from the state, the S2 formula. And what do you think your role would be as mayor in terms of making sure that we have an equitable public school system here in Jersey City?
Yeah. By the way, John, just on clarification, the timing that we get is in 60 seconds or 90 seconds for these questions?
60.
60 seconds, okay. Look, I'm the only person on this stage that's actually served on the Jersey City Board of Education, and we had a lot of fights. I remember fighting not only with our mayor, but with our governor. I went to the White House and had somebody work with us on the maintenance of equity clause to get back $126 million. And we fought that fight as a school board. I think the number one job of the mayor is to understand the most important service a city provides is education. The number one indicator of someone leaving Jersey City is when their children turns 5 years old. And so it's clear that we are failing our children, and we can do more. I think the city needs to provide wraparound services, but the city needs to work directly with our school board, not antagonize them and not throw them under the bus. The good news is the cuts under S2 are over, but the bad news is there is still a lot of accountability metrics we need to put into place to make sure we can get this district to where it needs to be.
Thank you, Ms. Saab. Councilman?
Yeah, I always say, win or lose, the next day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to walk my kids to one of our public schools here in Jersey City. So I couldn't be more invested in ensuring we have the strongest possible public schools in Jersey City. And I am going to take a different approach than the current mayor. I think he washed his hands of our public schools, said they're not my responsibility. And I think as mayor, as a leader, you must ensure we have the highest quality public education for our children. So a couple of things that we're going to fight for. First, we're going to create 1,000 summer jobs for teens to give them real opportunities the way we used to have in Jersey City with the CETA program. We're going to have a deputy mayor for education who's going to coordinate between the city and the school district to ensure that we are all rowing in the same direction. And I am going to get involved in getting a better school board. Simply put, our school board has not done a good enough job with a $1 billion budget. We have had serious problems of ego and mismanagement, and I will support, as I am in this election, candidates who are running on change and who are running to deliver the strongest possible public schools in Jersey City.
Thanks, James. Bill?
So the first thing I'm going to do is form a partnership, because confrontation has proven to be a failure. But that partnership has to start with correcting a politically motivated funding formula adopted in 2018. No one disagrees on that. Patterson, $583 million, Jersey City, $148 million. There's something drastically wrong with that. If we correct that formula, it's a $250 million difference. That can help improve our schools, that can help stabilize our taxes. So I think that's number one. Whether we have to sue the state again, I would not support any legislator that would support any budget that does not correct that particular funding formula. We need to get more opportunities after school programs. We have to have one city. Some parts of the city have better programs than the other. That's unfair, that's wrong. We need homework help in every one of our school districts. We need more guidance counselors in our schools. And those are other parts of things that I would do. But I gotta work with the school system, because if we fight the school system, it doesn't work. $250 million can make a big difference in the lives of our children, and by working together, we can figure out how to get that money back to us per year.
Thank you, Commissioner. Council President?
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
What
Thanks
I
for
would,
coming.
What I would do is really advocate to change the school board election, because I do believe that the parents should really have a say in it. And being in this council seat, we really don't have authority over the school board or its budget. But if we change the election, it'll put fresh eyes on the budget process, and parents will have more of a say who should be in that seat. Because just like Bill said, there's a lot of confrontation there, and we don't need that. And I believe the parents need to have a seat at the table to do that. So I would definitely advocate to change the school board election to make sure the parents have a say in it, because as a city, we don't have a say, and I will collaborate with them as much as possible when it comes to share services and whatever we can do to move the school board forward, and also make sure they get the proper funding that they deserve. Those are the things I would advocate, but the parents have to be at the table.
Very good. And Christina?
We as a city are responsible for the education, or playing a role in the education of our students. I understand that the budget seems a bit excavated. However, with that budget, it's still not doing enough. So us as a city have to partner with these schools and make sure that they're receiving the adequate just resources. From my understanding, a lot of the teachers don't have enough resources so that the children can learn adequately. Digital materials, partner in a sense of opening up the schools to the children after school so that they can have a safe space to go. Enrichment programs, collaborate with the nonprofits that's in the city, to where they come into these schools and they help these teachers out with some of the issues that they may be encountering with some of these students. I know that this practice works best because I am a member of Bless, and this is something that we model in PS 15 schools. So I think that this model can be replicated in all of the public schools that we have here in Jersey City, just to create an effective change for our students and also, the young people here.
Appreciate it. Any follow-up? Everybody good? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Okay, so now we'll start with James. So when you're looking at the future of public safety in Jersey City, when we're looking at the Jersey City Department of Public Safety, the Fire Department, Police Department, what would you change as the way the administration has done business in terms of public safety, and what would you keep the same?
Yeah, it's a great question. So first and foremost, we're going to change the leadership, right? We need a new director, and instead of having a public safety director, we'll have a police and fire director. Then you need to see more officers out on the street. So we're going to remove the fixed posts where the officers are literally forced to stand in one location and not allowed to move and walk around the city. Those fixed posts have created the feeling of a police state, and it has been wrong. So we are going to get those officers out on the beat and engaged in real, genuine community policing. But we have to have more than that. So we're going to have both accountability, support for a state-level civilian complaint review board, which is independent civilian oversight of investigations of misconduct, and then we're going to fund the broader community, fund violence interrupters, fund the ARRIVE program, which pairs mental health professionals with police officers, as well as having teams that have no officers responding to low-level calls for service, so our police officers can focus on what matters, which is investigating serious crimes and preventing serious crimes. With that, we can have genuine public safety, we can continue to reduce the murder rate in the city, and then also tackle property crimes as well.
Thank you, Councilman. Commissioner?
So I was the first to come out to separate to a police and fire department. I'm glad that I think almost everybody has come to that conclusion. Absolutely, we have to change the leadership. It was great that there was a vote of no confidence. It would have been greater if you maybe cut that person's salary by $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 and set a real message. We've got to change and upgrade and improve our 911 system. One of the reasons that individual should be gone is that individual wanted to privatize it. And to the credit, the city council wouldn't do that.
Correct.
The next step would be get rid of the person who refuses to do their job after that happens. We all agree on getting rid of the fixed posts. That's very, very, very important. We need to bring back the motorcycle squad. The motorcycles are in Marion Gardens in a building, but for the last 12 years, we've gotten rid of that squad. And that squad is critical, especially with traffic enforcement. And moving around Jersey City, we all know how important that is. We talked about interrupters. ARRIVE together should be 24/7 already. Day one, that's what we do. And I'm currently working with Alliance and with Pam Johnson to create a mental health de-escalation center that will be located on Oak Street. We have all the funding to operate it. We need the funding to build out the facility to get it started. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President?
I agree with Bill and Solomon with changing leadership. Leadership is always a problem when things are going wrong. But I know also too, when changing the leadership, you got to have a great recruitment department. Part of the challenge is with the police department is that they don't have enough staff. And when you don't have enough staff, there's a great shortage. So I believe we need to have a great recruiting division. We need to change the leadership. And we need to start pour into nonprofit organizations that give back to the community that can help us, especially churches. When situations arise in the community and there are tragedies, a lot of times people look to the churches. And so partnering with churches would also help ease the pressure off of public safety. Those are just three things that I would do at this time.
All right. Thank you.
I would be one that can speak to this directly, being that I am a police officer. And I would say that you can't get more with less. And that can be taken in so many ways, whether it's staffing issues or just being paid the adequate amount to be able to provide for our families and just to remain here in Jersey City. Now, in terms of public safety, I believe that we do need reform in regards to the policy through transparency and partnerships from within the community, community boards to collaborate with the captains of these districts to come up with game plans, because who knows what's going on in the community best other than the people that are out here. You know, we as the police officers, we have limited capabilities. However, we can empower the residents to take control over their safety as well, implement or reinstate neighborhood watches, create a traffic division, also to provide police officers and fire personnel an opportunity for mental health support, and also to receive 5 annual community service days to strengthen collaborations to where they can use that to actually go engage in the community and not have to worry about showing up for duty that day.
Thank you. Ms. Hoff?
Look, I think when we talk about public safety starts with trust. And right now, we don't even have real crime data for people to know what is actually happening within the city and the city departments. I think to the points that some of my fellow panelists have made, we need to change in leadership. Director Shea can no longer be there. We should have 2 separate departments between the police and the fire. But I think the most important thing that we need right now is we need accountability across the board. People need to know that they can trust their police officers. That's why I support a civilian review complaint board that has subpoena powers, like Councilman Solomon has mentioned. But I also think, when we have officers walking the beat and getting to know their neighborhoods, there's a different sense of how people feel about police officers. Right now, when you have a police officer who's on a fixed post, and there's a crime that's happening down the block and they can't go to address it, people don't feel like they can trust our officers. And this goes back to making sure that the mayor is visible. Look, just this morning at 4 a.m., there was a shooting, there was an officer-involved shooting on the corner of Bergen and Ege Avenue. And I know that the mayor made a statement about it, but I think it says more for the mayor to actually show up at the scene, right? To talk about and go to these neighborhoods and talk to neighbors who are, concerned about what's going on. The mayor needs to lead by example when it comes to public safety. He needs to be visible in all the different neighborhoods, particularly the neighborhoods that feel the most effects of crime on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you. Any further thoughts?
Yeah, two thoughts. One, when I was at council, we adopted a minimum policing ordinance that had a minimum number of officers. I don't think it's been enforced for a number of years. So we have to do that right away. And the second thing, and we can't fool ourselves about it, the starting salary of a police officer is like 42, 43,000. We can't even get them anymore. There was a time that like several thousand people applied to take the test. They told me the last test like 600 people applied. So we have to have the courage to deal with those starting salaries, because right now, that starting police officer can barely afford that $1,000 a month that you and I want to get at those affordable housing units.
All right. Anything else?
I agree with what Bill said. Yeah, it's true.
All right. Simple enough. And then just a quick follow-up. So do you guys have a sense of where you would like the police and fire departments to be? Meaning like, 1,000 police officers versus 800 firefighters, anything like that? And like any
Sure.
particular reason why?
Yeah, I mean, I think 950 police officers, that's the number we're trying to get to. And then we have about 650 firefighters. And we think those are the numbers that provide coverage, given our population is growing. You have to keep in mind that Jersey City is continuing to grow with more and more people. So our departments have to be able to maintain that. And we think that fits into our budget. It allows us to reduce some of the overtime we've been spending for the police force. It keeps our Fire Safer grant going and keeps our fire department ratings high. Those are the right staffing levels.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I think those numbers are right.
Yeah.
Drastically below those numbers. It's concerning that the city has allowed that to happen for this many years, and no disrespect to the two council members, I think they should have been a lot more vocal in fighting and demanding that those dollars and those number of officers be assigned to each of those departments. But I agree, I think the numbers are good. I think they'll help reduce overtime, which I think is a critical component. But again, I'm just concerned about a starting salary that people may not even want to take the job.
Okay.
Well, let me just say this. When it comes to the council, when it comes to the police department, we do try to negotiate, proper salaries for them. And the council's not involved with the negotiation, all right? I just want that to be out there clear. And also, I do believe that policemen should get paid what they're worth. I've always been an advocate for that and always will be. And part of the problem is the recruiting. We had a good recruiting officer, but they let that go down. So you need a good recruiting department so police officers can want to come. You have to change the way you recruit people. You really do. So that's why there's such a lack of police, because of the recruitment and the morale is down. But far as the salaries go, the council don't negotiate their salaries. I want that out there.
Okay.
The morale of the police department
We
is
don't.
down, and again, we're
We don't.
pretty much
How
overworked
many
in
officers
terms
you have
of
as part of your
the
budget
duties
process?
that we have
No,
to
what you pay.
perform on a daily
We don't
basis.
negotiate it. We
In
know
terms of the numbers, I think that we can do a little bit more on the numbers, maybe about a 1,500 department, and I'm going to say this is the reason why. You have officers that get sick, that get injured, and they go out for various reasons. So therefore, that takes away from the manpower within the departments, which causes the overtime that you're seeing occurring within the department. I think that if we had enough coverage in terms of to cover the bases of where officers are going out, or even just going out on maternity leave, I think we'll see a difference within the city in terms of response and running a lot smoother.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've actually had the opportunity to negotiate union contracts. I've negotiated the teachers union contract. I've negotiated the 2262 contract. These are multi-million-dollar contracts that span over the course of several years. And I think there's two very important items. I mean, we talk about minimum wage, and I think that's essential. When I was on the school board, I increased the minimum wage for teachers from $54,000 up to $61,000. Today, 4 years later, it's still $61,000. The new contract negotiated all the money to the top. When I was negotiating contracts, I negotiated money all the way at the bottom. But the second thing that no one's mentioning is the cost of healthcare. I mean, the most critical thing we have to think about when it comes to our municipal employees is the cost of healthcare and the rising cost that Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield has caused on all of our employees. And I think it's great to be talking about staffing and increasing the amount of people there, but the cost that we're talking about is not just the salary, It's the additional services that we're providing. And healthcare is a core component of that. I think we have to be innovative in how we think about healthcare. I think it's an opportunity to even think about, pooling our health resources with the Board of Education. When I was on the board, I actually took all of our money out from the state health plan to be self-funded. The city right now is self-funded. It's a great opportunity to pool all the money for our municipal services to make sure we can negotiate with Horizon Blue Cross in a better way.
All right, anything else?
All I would say is that usually when you self-fund, it gives you a savings up front, but if you ever got to go back in, you're going to pay the penalty and pay the piper for it.
That's
so it's
right.
good. It gives you it's good once, but if you ever got to go back in,
Right.
watch and see.
Yeah, I mean,
History shows that.
I do want to respond though. I mean, I think right now, if you look at the state health benefits plan, it's going through a death spiral. You ask
Understood.
anybody across the state of New Jersey,
But-
everybody's pulling out.
But why is it that we have to have Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield? We can pick another insurance provider. For the simple fact is they don't cover the basics of which we need as police officers, such as mental health support, in addition to maternity support when we're out having our kids. So it doesn't necessarily work for us. I shouldn't have to be paying to take my 4-year-old son to the hospital $150 co-payment just so that they could say, oh, here's a prescription for Tylenol, which I still have to pay a co-payment for. It's unreasonable. It's already coming out of my check.
I will say I have tried to go down this pathway of shifting from Blue Cross to somebody else. By far, Blue Cross basically has an oligopoly in New Jersey when it comes to sort of who's in network. And if I went to police officers and polled them about another insurance firm, I guarantee you they would want to stay with who they are.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
It's the biggest single
I am an
stumbling
officer.
point in negotiations now with both of those unions.
100%.
Is changing
100%.
anything related to
That's right.
healthcare coverage. So.
It is.
Well, I mean, just clerical aside, I guess. But like my insurance is Aetna, and I got a letter like 2 months ago, and they're like, "Hey, in 2026, we're not doing personal insurance plans anymore." So
There you go.
it's very difficult to find something on the market. But all right,
You're
so
going to have to go work for government, is that?
Right.
I didn't say that. I didn't say
okay.
that. But all right, so let's move on. So, Bill, when we're talking about partnerships and collaborations, which some of you guys have already mentioned in a few capacities now, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, NJ Transit, and the PATH. This is largely around transportation, but there's a public safety element too, potentially. Like, obviously, the mayor can't just tell the Port Authority what to do or NJ Transit what to do, but what do you think a potential collaboration or a potential, working relationship with these agencies would look like under your administration?
So 2 things. First of all, the chairperson of the Port Authority's chief of staff lives in Jersey City. So I've spoken to him, I've worked with him, I deal with him on issues related to Newark Airport and bringing minority and women business opportunities to the work that goes on there. I also started a conversation with him about one act of good faith, which is eliminate the weekend trips to Hoboken to get to New York City. And that's an ongoing discussion. But many years ago when I was a councilman, we stopped the Port Authority from putting a repair station where now County Plaza is. It used to be Block Drug. And you know how we got it done? I went to the governor of the state of New Jersey, Tom Kane, and he vetoed or threatened to veto the minutes of the Port Authority if they move forward with it. So we have the ammunition to do it. Now I think Jersey City should have a representative on that board. If Jersey City had a representative on the board of the Port Authority, we would have a lot more to say when it comes to that. As it relates to New Jersey Transit, it's another ongoing process. You've got to work with them. Two bus lines in my district were going to be discontinued, 440 Shopper, number 80 line. In both cases, I worked strongly with the community, went to the people on the board, went to their director of intergovernmental relations, was part of a petition drive. We were able to save both of those bus lines. So you got to work with them, but you got to stand up to them. And sometimes you got to go to their meetings and you got to speak out, because if you don't make a little noise there, they're not going to listen to you.
That's true.
Thanks, Bill. Joyce?
Yeah, I agree with Bill that we need a representation on that board, and also that you do have to make noise. Because dealing with Port Authority or dealing with the state at certain times, you just have to be very vocal. And as mayor of the city, you should always be on the front line, willing to fight for your people, especially when it comes to transportation. When they cut transportation on the south side of the city, what we did, we partnered with VIA, because people on the south side of the city didn't have no means of transportation. So as a leader, you have to start thinking of ways to make sure that people can get around in the city. And so when it comes to Port Authority, we need to just gang up on them. That's the truth. We need to just gang up on Port Authority and tell them enough is enough. That's the point we have to be right now. Enough is enough with them, because they really inconvenience our residents throughout this whole city. Enough is enough.
Yes, point taken.
So, speaking to the point of the public safety with Port Authority and New Jersey Transit, because they are police officers, just from the police officer standpoint, and I'll touch on the service spaces as well, they need to do their job. You know, a lot of calls that we get that pertains to these particular entities, they're sworn in police officers just like we are. So therefore, they have the same powers that we do in terms of, you know, writing reports and processing arrests and whatever else that entails of the duties. That alone will free up us having to respond to those kinds of calls. You know, you have them, they'll call us and say, oh, you know, this person is being disorderly, and we have to go respond and like write the ticket. Like, where's your powers? Like, are you not an officer? So just making sure that they're accountable for their duties, so that it relieves some of our police officers from having to go out and do their job on top of the job within the city. In terms of service, you know, just work with them and find out how can we expand, one, the light rail, and then also the bus services here in Jersey City. One of my ideas for Jersey City that will kind of be a twofer to where we get a green sustainable initiative in addition to just more service, and then also opportunity for jobs is an electric bus line. One, there's funding for it to where it doesn't have to come out of the taxpayers' pockets. And I think everybody will be a whole lot happier because, one, we can hire people from Jersey City to run these buses, and then, you know, we control the service hours.
We'd all like to be happier. Musa?
Look, when it comes to public transportation, we've been very bold about our fast and free bus system. But I want to talk a little bit about partnerships and working with people. I mentioned earlier the $126 million maintenance of equity clause. And I kind of want to walk through that story to give you an example of how I believe the mayor should be fighting for their people. We saw a provision in the American Rescue Plan that said, if you are going to take money from the federal government, you must make sure your poorest districts are not cut school funding equal to the level from 2 years prior. The governor of New Jersey wanted to accept the money from ARP, but he wanted to cut $126 million from Jersey City Public Schools, which he had done through S2, separate legislation. We went to the governor. I went to the White House. I went to the chief of intergovernmental affairs. I got him to work with the Department of Education and had the Secretary of Education send a letter to the governor of New Jersey, all as a school board member, to say, hey, if you are going to take the American Rescue Plan money, you have to give Jersey City back their money. And that is the way I think we think about fighting. We have to make sure we can find the legal provisions. We have to make sure that we can find the people who are going to be supporting us. And we have to be willing to stand up to bullies. Look, when the people of Jersey City were looking for support, we did everything that we could, despite the fact that the mayor did not support us, the governor did not support us. We had to go all the way to the White House to get support.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, when you canvass in Jersey City, the incredibly unreliable transit comes up each and every day. On the West Side Light Rail, talking about, hey, the 808 does not show up most mornings. When you're at the Path, talking about how the weekend train is jam-packed and then it breaks down. And when you're at the 119 bus stops, seeing 4 buses show up in 5 minutes and then no bus for 30 minutes. The quality of transit is abysmal, and as mayor, you have my promise to fix it. So how are we going to do it? We are going to get tough on Port Authority, and we are going to say you must deliver weekend service every 10 minutes on the World Trade Center line. And you do move to that long-term vision of removing the Hoboken stop on weekends. On light rail, similar, every 10, 12, 15 minutes running the light rail on the weekends. And on the buses, simple technology fix can run our buses closer together, spaced out every 5 minutes to create that reliable system that you need. So you have my promise to be a transit mayor who is directly focused each and every day on Path, on the buses, and on the light rail.
All right. Anything else? All right.
I guess the one thing I'll add is, you know, one of our opponents who isn't here today has taken tens of thousands of dollars from the person who's the chair of the Port Authority. And so when we think about being tough on the Port Authority and standing up to them, I don't know how he's going to be able to do that when that's one of his buddies.
Agree.
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
I would just say, short term, we've got buses at the Board of Ed every day that sit doing nothing from 9 or 8:30 in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon. That's the quickest, cheapest way to be able to provide a lot of transportation. It's not rush hour, but we should be doing it right away. Yesterday I had 450 seniors to go see a movie. I had to write a check for $6,500 to the Schools of Technology to get 13 buses to pick those seniors up and take them to the location. So I think that thinking outside the box quickly, the Board of Ed should change their thinking and allow those buses to be used, whether it's for seniors, whether it's for shopping, whether it's for other things that can be done during those off hours, and people just sitting around as bus drivers doing nothing.
And I think it's a great idea from the commissioner. Another thing I just want to highlight is we have to ensure people can move around the city safely if they are not in a car. Right now, so Jersey City simply is not safe if you're a pedestrian, you're a bicyclist. I know every single person in Jersey City has had a close call, so I'm committed to delivering safe streets for Jersey City. Start on day one creating that traffic enforcement division that Director Shea has publicly stated he refuses to create. We're going to staff it with 25 officers, make sure that they're out there making our city safe. We're going to fully fund our infrastructure department, $1 million in operating it annually, $10 million in capital annually to create complete streets improvements across Jersey City. And then we are going to push at the state level to allow for the automated enforcement that has been proven to make streets safer.
All right, thank you. All right, so let's move on. So obviously in the past, anywhere from a month to 48 hours, depending who you ask, they're hearing a lot about what's going on with Hudson Regional Health and Heights University Hospital. You know, obviously they acquired these 3 facilities from CarePoint Health through a bankruptcy process in April, and there was a lot of assurances everything's going to be smooth sailing. Clearly that's not the case. We heard last month non-essential services could be cut in 30 days. While that hasn't happened, they did get a $2 million, I'll call it a reprieve from the State Department of Health. Obviously, there's a lot of things in limbo, and there's a lot of politics around this. So what is the solution to keeping the hospital open? Is it partnering with, you know, maybe Barnabas Health or Cooper Health, maybe someone that hasn't been involved in Hudson County? Is there a way to salvage things the way they are? What would your plan be to keep this hospital open for the Heights, Journal Square, the, you know, Jersey City as a whole?
What I would do, I would gather Barnabas Health Board and Christ Hospital Board and have them sit at the table, because I do believe the hospital needs to stay open. As of right now, and I know they keep saying they can't find funding, but Barnabas is an experienced hospital, and I knew at one time they did give an offer. I think we can go back to the table and see if we could adjust that offer, or, you know, come to some type of agreement, because that hospital needs to stay open. And based on what the state is saying, they're not going to give us no funding. We're not getting any money. So our best bet is to just begin to reach out to Barnabas to see if we can bring everybody back at the table, because that hospital is desperately needed. We cannot afford not to have a hospital on that side of town. If there's no hospital on that side of town, you can imagine all of the tragedies that can take place with the distance that there, because the only hospital you have is the medical center. So we really need to sit down and get Barnabas back at the table so that could be done. But I do believe this, though. I believe there was a dirty deal somewhere. I can't, and I'm gonna say it like that, because there's no way that, you know, those people was thinking that the hospital was okay, and then all of a sudden it's not okay. I'm telling you, we just getting the news too. So I'm saying it was a dirty deal somewhere, and it need to be an investigation. That's what we need to do. We need to investigate it, because we need that hospital.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I would agree in terms of keeping the hospital open and partnering with RJB, just because I know that they have, they accept most insurances, and then on top of that, they have campuses here in like little hubs here within Jersey City. So I think it would be a great way for them to expand to the Heights. Medical center, just based off of me constantly going there and my duties, is already overworked. It's already overtaxed. You know, we have a large population here, and unfortunately there's not enough resources to even be like, we can shut down this hospital. We need a hospital, and we have to figure out how to do it expeditiously. So I would think the best way to go about that is collaborating with RJB, have a sit down with them and say, hey, we need you at this point because the people in our city need it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been following this hospital very closely. Part of the reason Barnabas never got the original deal was because of monopoly concerns. There were concerns around the FTC. Like, could this be a merger, you know, with Jersey Medical Center already existing? I think the biggest thing you need to do is you need to have a public audit of the numbers. You know, look, we look in Hoboken Medical Center, and now that's profitable for them. We look in Bayonne Medical Center, and now that's profitable for them. And I think it's interesting that the one hospital that has the most expensive view is the one that they can't seem to turn around. So if they really want state financing, they should be willing to open their books, show us what the actual deficit is. Because to me, I don't think the numbers are what they're presenting them as. And I think to the point of a dirty deal, I mean, look, it's no secret. The day after Christ Hospital was turned over to HRH, the board of HRH had a fundraiser for Steve Fulop where the minimum ticket was $25,000. I mean, this is the exact thing we talk about when it comes to pay to play. You know, someone is getting a deal and a politician somewhere is lining their pockets with money that should belong to the taxpayers.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about this topic. So, first of all, firm commitment. There will be a hospital in the Heights. No ifs, ands, or buts. You will have healthcare in the Heights. And we start there by punching the bully back in the face, right? The current bully is HRH, the new owners of this hospital. They purchased this hospital, went through bankruptcy court, and promised the world, right? Said, we are going to keep the hospital open. And less than half a year later, they threatened to close it. That's the first threat. But then they issued a new threat to demolish the hospital, bulldoze it, and put over 2,000 units of luxury-only housing. That's their proposal that they sent to the city. I want to repeat that because it's so absurd that I have to say it again. They sent a proposal to the city proposing to demolish the hospital and build over 2,000 units of luxury-only housing. So as mayor, never. Not on my watch. When a bully punches you, you punch him back. We held a press conference today. We went after them, and then we pointed out the corruption. The landowner at HRH, Alaris Health, gave $35K to our opponent, who's not here at the empty podium, Jim McGreevey. And you know what Governor McGreevey said? He said he didn't know. He said he didn't know that he had gotten a $35K donation from Alaris Health. That is BS. So he says he's going to return the donation because we called him out, but that is the way that developers have run Jersey City. They want luxury housing, they buy off the politicians, and then they get to build whatever they want. So again, as mayor, won't happen. We are going to save the hospital, and we're going to get tough on these guys who are trying to threaten us into doing what they want.
Thank you, Councilman.
So if the current zoning there allows anything except medical facilities, you guys, tomorrow, introduce an ordinance, change the zoning back. Exactly. So don't change the zoning. Don't change the zoning, 100%. You got my committed, don't change the zoning. We have to be guaranteed that we have a full service hospital there. Because I hear emergency services. That means they're going to put a little emergency room there and get rid of all the services that the people in the Heights and Journal Square need. So that's the first thing that we need to do. Secondly, how do you 6 months after you take over a hospital close it? Unless it was, as others have said, a dirty deal to begin with, a real estate deal to begin with. It's pretty obvious, and I don't know whether the council's got the subpoena powers, but yeah, I think you should start an investigation right away, because something's rotten in Denmark. And the prior person, CarePoint, I once called them out in a news article, and the head of CarePoint said he was going to sue me if I didn't retract what I said. Well, guess what? I never retracted what I said. It was about $1 million check that the county made to the foundation. John probably remembers covering that. And disappeared. Got cashed some other way. But I never got sued and I never retracted my statement. So as everyone else has said, look, I was born in Christ Hospital. And we should keep calling it Christ Hospital.
That's right.
Not change the name. I'll do anything in my power to make sure that hospital stays open. We can't change the zoning. It starts there. And we also need to make sure that as a county in 2021, we adopted a self-tax on hospitals. By that tax, we bring twice as much money in as gets paid in taxes. So with Christ Hospital, $7 million in tax, $16 million in revenue for the people that are there.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Any other thoughts on this topic? Obviously, important one. Okay, so we're about at the midway point, so we're going to take just a quick 5-minute intermission, folks. We're going to be back in 5. We'll see you shortly.
You're not running any McGreevey commercials, right?
All right, John Hudson here at Hudson Media Group, and we're still in the midst of the Jersey City mayoral debate, the last of the season. Of course, Election Day is November 4th. So I believe we're back at Christina Freeman, so we're going to just restart the order here. And so obviously we're just talking, had a passionate discussion, I feel, about HRH and the future of that hospital. So when we're talking about Jersey City, smart development, handing out tax abatements, pilot agreements, what do you think the future of Jersey City looks like when we're building more skyscrapers, when we're looking for more affordable housing? And, what would that look like under your administration?
Well, under my administration, abatements will be pretty much determined by the community. We can't just overdevelop and push people out of Jersey City, and they should be involved in what is within that community. So the developer will be required to meet with community members to decide on what it is that they need for them to contribute to that community. I'm more interested in giving back to the community, such as affordable housing, local hiring and infrastructure improvements, and just extending some abatements for home ownership to pretty much empower residents rather than large developers. In terms of initiatives, I plan to expand some of the green structures, infrastructures here, add more green tree lines to connect it to the green spaces that we have here in Jersey City, redevelop some of the parks that we have so that our youth can have safe spaces to play, our younger youth can have safe spaces to play. But in terms of abatements, I don't intend to support developers. I will support families here in Jersey City.
All right, appreciate it.
Look, I think the way to think about development is to think about equitable growth. When I was at Rutgers Law School, I wrote a paper that was 48 pages long talking about displacement, but it was really also focused on how do you equitably grow a city. And I think Newark has a great model. So Newark has a community land bank. It's an idea that I think we should also bring here to Jersey City, where you can take land and give it to developers to build 100% affordable housing, to build workforce housing, to build community centers, to build rec centers. We also have the boldest housing plan in this race that calls for upzoning almost 40% of Jersey City, from single-family zoning to multifamily zoning. We want to build more housing all across the city, and particularly affordable housing. And to do that, we want to incentivize people through tax abatements. So the only time a tax abatement works out is if you are actually getting something back for it. The Pompidou, where we have given away $175 million to get effectively nothing, is a terrible use of a tax abatement. But in Newark, sometimes they use tax abatements to guarantee 20% affordable housing in new construction in a place that needs development. That is smart growth. And so we support development where we can use tax abatements as an effective lever to make developers do something and then hold them accountable.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we have to end a developer and corporate landlord-run city so that we actually deliver genuinely affordable housing. And so that's why I start, for my very first race, not taking developer donations, because the developers have run the show. Case in point, CarePoint, an HRH, $35K donation, followed by a proposal for a luxury-only 2,000 plus unit development. So we're going to end that, end the luxury-only developments, mandate that developers put genuinely affordable apartments in their new units or in their new developments, apartments that rent at $1,000 a month, apartments that rent at $1,500 a month. Then we're going to make sure we go after the corporate landlords, the ones who have been illegally raising the rent. I passed the first in the state law to ban the use of AI algorithms to jack up the rent. We're going to enforce that, and we're going to do more and strictly enforce our rent control rules and cap rent increases. And last but not least, we are going to go after corruption and make sure that we can stabilize people's property taxes as we fight waste, fraud, and abuse. That's how you deliver an affordable city that actually serves the people, and you ensure development works for all of us and not developers.
Thank you.
So Aspire tax credits in every high-rise building can create 20% affordable units at the rents that James speaks about. every one of those should be geared in that direction. Low-income housing tax credits plus state housing tax credits. I know how to do it. I've done it. I know how to sit down on a piece of paper and make the numbers work. I know how to sit down on a piece of paper and show a developer how to make it work. The Pompidou should have been an Aspire project. The Pompidou should have 20%, if not more, affordable units. The city's done it in some occasions. They did it with Bayfront. They did it with 703 North Avenue. That should be as a starting point with each and every developer. Get them to do a minimum of those 20%. As it relates to rent control and the rent control law, the city's had a pretty good rent control law. They've just done a horrible job of enforcing it. The amount of illegal vacancy decontrol that's gone on in this city for the last 8 to 12 years is horrific. It's horrific. And start with the mayor's office, but everyone who's part of the government's got to take a little bit of the blame for that. And I think that enforcing the current law, stopping the illegal vacancy decontrol is critical. But the last part of development relates to jobs. We need to look to create jobs in Jersey City. We need a lot more jobs. In Kearney, on the county level, we have a copper site. That's going to create 1,500 to 2,000 jobs, and I've made sure that that agreement with that developer guarantees first right to Hudson County residents. I wish I could make it Jersey City residents, but it's a county project. So we need those jobs, and as it relates to vacant lots, we have APRA. The city, again, just hasn't done anything with it. They have 65 properties on it. They could start doing that,
that's time.
but if they should be doing that more to get more properties that are vacant to developers' hands, local developers.
Okay, thank you.
When it comes to tax incentive, I believe this. I believe the deal has to be right. You know, when I think about it, when I first came into office and going through the process of tax abatements, it was based on that the developer giving us something back. Every tax deal that I was at the table with, we have received something back. If you look at the 16 school annex, that's a tax break. We got something back. In the house building, we got 100 affordable units, and plus at 100 Montgomery Street, those people was able to stay there. So we got that through the tax incentives. Now, when it comes to the IZO, now when we sat down with the IZO, we worked with Fair Share Housing with that, okay? When we worked with that, we came up with the numbers, and that in certain wards, that it would be 15% or 10%. And the reason why we came up with that number is because not everybody want affordable housing in their area. I think that's a discussion that we really need to have, because I've been dealing with affordable housing, and when I brought it to certain neighborhoods, they said they didn't want it. So what I think we need to do is go back and amend the IZO with the community at the table, because they have to know that the affordable units are still coming into their neighborhood and they have to embrace it. We need to rebrand affordable housing. That is a problem. Also, I believe in Affordable Housing Trust Fund. That has helped small contractors like Jeff Contractor Allen. It helped him with his project, and also it helped Garden State with their projects. So when we have the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, that also is an avenue. So when it comes to affordability, we need every avenue that we can get to make sure people get affordability. But there need to be a rebranding of affordable housing, because not everybody want them in their neighborhood. I've been dealing with it. When I go to them, they said that they don't want it. We need to have another conversation, because people do need affordability. And Fair Share Housing is the experts and neighbors at the table with this.
All right. Anything further? Okay, then.
No, I would just say two quick things. One, I'm going to give a kudo to Joyce. Many years ago, when you were first on the council, there was a project downtown. It was before James was on the council. And they had affordable units. And there were two levels. There were 10 years and 20 years. And I remember we had a conversation.
That's right.
And Joyce said, Bill, you think which I think was talking about the mayor, their people will be in those 20-year units, and our people will be in the 10-year units. So I always remember that. We were on it. The second point is, there are sites today that we can develop, where all of those VIA vehicles are. I've been speaking to the SDA and the Board of Ed to do a project there with a school and all affordable above. Some low mod, an Aspire project, but the rest of it as workforce housing. So I think that we have great sites throughout the city to create. I think 2,800 we can do, but we need 3,700 units based on the RPA report.
Okay.
But could I say something? When it comes to the affordability, because you're going to really need the CDC to be a part of that, because I've been dealing with affordable housing and trying to get people to purchase housing with first-time home buyer classes, right? Workshops. What you need a good realtor to help them through that process, because the truth is, though, people have struggled to get through that process to even purchase a home. So as a city mayor, I would partner with local realtor agencies to help people get to that level where they can purchase purchase a home because you really need that. It's a whole dynamic here. It's not just easy saying it because some people don't qualify based on a credit rating, and you have to work with them to get there. So I would be willing to do that because I see it's necessary. Because I partnered with Tanya Keys, realtor company. She helped this woman get a house, Miss Broaden, and so now she's in there. Miss Morgan, so now she's in a home. So that's a process, and I think that's something we need to start looking at when we go forth.
And if I can just build on the council president's point, she's been a real advocate for home ownership, and one of the things that I really want to focus on is home ownership for the public servants who serve our city.
Yes.
So police officers, firefighters, nurses, we want them to live in the city that they serve, but own in the city that they serve. And so we did propose, the first campaign to propose it was taking the vacant lots and abandoned buildings and turning those into rent-to-own housing for public servants. We think that's going to make our city stronger. It's going to make our neighborhood stronger by removing blight. And it's a type of kind of thoughtful housing plan that both helps neighborhoods and helps people afford Jersey City.
Just to point out, the SDA site that I mentioned earlier, that's a co-op concept. So within that co-op, the people there would get a portion of the dollars they pay into a fund. So if they wanted to purchase a house, they'd be able to take those dollars and use it as a down payment towards the house that they want to buy, in addition maybe to whatever dollars the city can offer as part of their own program.
And I don't want to forget our renters, okay, because people are being pushed out because of rent. And I propose really writing an ordinance that you pay 30% of your income for your rent. I think that is something that we need to, push forward for as a city. And the reason why is because people are pricing out. People are paying 40 and 50%, of their income for rent. And based on the state standard, if we pay 30% of our income, we can live. People are paying more than that. So I'm proposing to get an ordinance like that across the board, even before I become mayor, because I'm hearing what the people say. They cannot afford to live here any longer.
Got it.
So I just want to say, I looked at your ordinance. There's a lot I like about it,
Yeah,
but you got to work on it.
Yeah,
you got to work on it because
That's
the
what I'm
concept is
saying.
good,
That's
but there are
right.
things in there that could backfire and
Right.
make things
Right.
worse instead of better.
Right.
But it's a good start.
Yeah.
It's a good start.
I just wanted to chime in. The city has an opportunity to create income-based housing, and they can collaborate with organizations such as Habitat for Humanity to get it done. We can build houses for people who are homeless and for people who are just looking for first-time home buyer, just homes. This is what they do. I believe that it's an opportunity to collaborate with these type of organizations in addition to Home Depot and Lowe's to get them involved, being that we already have these companies within our city, just to utilize them for what they already do.
Okay. So a lot of nitty-gritty policy, a lot of ideas here. This one's something a little different. So when looking at your resume, when looking at your platform, your campaign and anything else, what makes you stand out from the crowd of 7 candidates, and what makes you think you're the best person to be the next mayor of Jersey City?
Look, I'm the only candidate on this stage that served on the Jersey City Board of Education. I think I'm one of the only candidates here who has taken the pledge not to participate in pay-to-play politics, sort of corruption that's run this city. I went to Jersey City Public Schools. I went off to Harvard Law School. And so I've seen the world in many different eyes, right? I'm the only candidate on this stage who's an immigrant. And I know right now our immigrant community is very worried because of everything that's happening with ICE. And so when I think about a mayor who's going to stand up to the Trump administration, I think that I'm that mayor. When you think about a mayor who has the policy chops, the person that's negotiated union contracts, that's closed the budget deficit, I am that mayor. When you think about the people that have actually had opportunities to do so many other things outside of politics, but chosen to choose service, I am that mayor. And so that's why I think I'm the most qualified person that's here, and the person with the biggest ideas to help lead the city with fresh leadership.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need change from the status quo, from decades of developer and landlord-driven policies that have delivered an extraordinarily unaffordable city, by some metrics, the second most expensive city in the country. So for me, it requires independence from developers, independence from corporate landlords, and independence from the political machine, and a proven track record of beating them. So I passed the Tenants' Right to Counsel, a bill that's going to keep thousands of residents in their homes. I passed the first ever ordinance to ban algorithmic rent setting, where developers illegally share data with each other to jack up your rent. We passed the first ever preference for local affordable housing going to Jersey City residents. We repealed our pool fees. We've done all of those things, beating developers and corporate interests time and time again. We worked to get rid of the line, the corrupt system the machine used to rig the ballot and entrench power. So you've got to beat them, but then you've got to have those plans and ideas to deliver an affordable Jersey City. So we've got those ideas, we've talked about them, but rents at $1,000 a month and $1,500 a month required in large-scale new developments. banning rent increases, capping those rent increases so that people can stay in their homes. You need to have a track record of independence from developers and landlords, a track record of taking on the political machine, a track record of winning, and then the idea is to deliver an affordable Jersey City, and I think I've got those.
Appreciate it, James.
Yeah.
35 years of elected experience, both on the city level and the county level. A decade of running a not-for-profit that knows how to get affordable housing built, knows how to make grants and loans to small businesses. In fact, during COVID, we did it first at that nonprofit, and then I showed Hudson County how to do it to help Jersey City with their small businesses, because they were late to the game in doing it. But I also know how to keep an eye on things. Jersey City gave back millions of dollars in rental assistance from ARP money. I'm not sure if you guys know that, but they gave money back. And you did get right to counsel adopted, but there was no money. And I got the county to put the money up because we needed to start that program right away. We couldn't wait till 2026 to do it. So my record of what I've done as a legislator on a county level, things like during COVID getting a step-down unit, ironically across from Christ Hospital, that saved thousands of lives because we didn't have enough emergency beds. When the city failed to keep a warming center open, getting the county to open up a warming center that now offers mental health services, job training, food stamps, and cash assistance. That's a proven record of getting things done. Not ideas, actually getting things done. On an administrative level, running an agency, but also on a legislative, working within a government while maintaining my independence.
Thank you.
I believe that at this time, the city needs a person who is strong, compassionate, listen, act, and get results for the people. My record has been proven. I have fought for affordable housing. I have fought for opportunities for small businesses. I have pushed the needle when it comes to diversity and inclusion. I have created the first women advisory board. I have created set-asides for women in minority business. I was there when there was COVID and the city had to keep running. I made sure things kept going. We didn't stop. We didn't stop a beat. So for me, it's important that the people know that I am a mother, that I am a wife, that I am a citizen of Jersey City. I've been born and raised here. I've seen how this city changed. I know what it's going to take to move this city forward. No, I'm not an immigrant, but you're looking at the first generation of a sharecropper. That's who I am. I have a right to be at this table.
All right, appreciate it. Christina?
Well, I'm going to state the obvious. I think that the people are tired of politicians. They're tired of being sold dreams and aspirations, and nothing happens once that person they voted for gets into office. I am the everyday people. Although I am a police officer, I do get to see the worst sides of society. I'm right here on the ground with you. I understand what it's like to choose between which bill you want to pay for the month, because the prices of rents are going up, and it's better to have a roof over your head and, you know, maybe skim off on the light bill or maybe the telephone bill. I am from the people. I am a servant of the people. When I got into my profession, because I wanted to help. Just from me being in the spaces as a police officer, I realized that I have a greater calling, and this is an opportunity for me to step into that calling, to be a greater service to the people of Jersey City. This is why I am the most qualified in terms of humanity, for the people, from the people, to bring forth the Jersey City that the everyday Jersey City residents wants to see.
All right, anything else? Okay, so moving on, and we'll start with Councilman Solomon. So, I mean, I think everyone's in agreement here that Jersey City needs to be more affordable, and I'll go ahead and agree with you. Oh, yes, it'd be great if it was more affordable. But with that said, obviously, like as the mayor, you have a big seat at the table in setting the city's budget, and if we want to make Jersey City more affordable, part of the way we're going to do it would involve either cutting some services or getting more revenues, or both. So what would be your vision of how you could make this budget a little more, I guess, responsible, you know, maybe a little more functional in the coming 4 years?
Absolutely. I will add also that I will deliver great dad jokes as part of my my plan for Jersey City.
You need a second one, though. You got it.
You're right. The other ones, yeah, whatever. But to how do we tackle the budget challenge? It's a great question. So we start by going after the folks that have some real money, the developers and some of the corporate landlords. So we audited 200 of the biggest contractors who build the biggest high-rises in Jersey City, and we found that over 90% hadn't even signed up to pay the payroll tax. And they would say, if you didn't pay your property taxes, your home would be taken, your condo would be taken. These guys felt the total immunity and impunity not to even enroll in what they had to pay. That ends when I'm mayor. We're going to go after the contractors. We're going to audit every single developer tax break, and we are going to end the property tax breaks for luxury-only development. We can deliver that for Jersey City. Then we're going to make some tough choices. We need new leadership in our budget office. We've had our credit downgraded 2 times in the last 3 years. That is completely unacceptable, and we have to ensure that we are spending within our means. And then we're going to deliver good city services. This is not acceptable to say, well, we're cutting the budget, we can't deliver good city services. No, we must improve the quality of city services, and I have a plan to do that. It's called CityStat. It's been adopted in cities across the country. It uses basic performance management techniques to ensure that we fill potholes, we pick up trash, and we actually deliver a city that works for you. So that's my commitment. I don't think you have to choose and pick. I think you can get tough on developers and landlords, audit them, ensure that we have the revenue, and then increase the quality of city services.
Thank you.
Yep.
So the city has a $100 million operating deficit, and you're not solving that in a year. And it's gotten that way through a credit card mentality, from bonding tax appeals instead of paying for them, from selling land that there's no land the next year to sell. The city's gotten itself into a tough situation. Can't solve it in 1 year. You walk in, I say you got to solve it over 4 years. You've got to bring together a professional budget committee, open up the books. Everything is open. There are no sacred cows in this, and let them put together those 4 years. I agree on the issue of the payroll tax, but I have a better idea. Don't give a CO to a project until they demonstrate that they paid the tax.
We passed that law. We did it.
Well, how they do it? How you doing with it?
It's good.
Good. That's good. I'm glad you took my advice. I'm glad you took my advice. There you go. See, you're listening. You got a lot of good ideas. But again, that was a simple problem that existed for how many years before it got done? Audit all your tax abatements. When Maureen Cosgrove was the tax collector, those were audited every year. And you got more revenue. In fact, Lefrak opted out of an abatement because it cost him more money to stay in it than to stay out of it. And then we have to make tough decisions. And some of those tough decisions relate to services. And we've got to let this committee look at each and every one of them. But when it comes to improving how our employees perform, it's saying thank you. It's going to them and asking when they're not doing what they're supposed to do, hey, get out of that truck and do it. I'm a hands-on person. Like I said, I'm moving City Hall to the hub 3 days a week because I'm going to walk from my house to there. And if I see some truck sitting idling when they're supposed to be filling a pothole, I'm going to make sure that the pothole gets filled.
Thank you. Breaking news, Bill O'Dea, hands-on person. Who would have known? But go right ahead, Council President.
I would audit each department. I think that's important to see exactly where we stand, to be perfectly honest, because there's a skill set that I believe also that is missing in the city. I believe because of the project 2025 that's coming that, I looked into, and there are going to be people who are getting like social services, things like that they will be losing jobs if they don't find employment. I think we can reach out in that area to employ them. That will help fill the gap of staffing, which is so important. I believe we can bring training in to train the staff to get to the next level, because part of the staff can't get there because there's not training. That's so important. I believe that also we can increase our fees. That's so important. We're so outdated with so many things when you look at the city books, to be perfectly honest. If we can increase our fees and permits, then I believe that can also help bring revenue in, which is so important. And what we need to cut, we will cut. But I think that we don't have to cut if we partner with social services, because based on Project 2025, there's a lot of people going to be losing their job. And so the city can employ them to keep them and train them, which this way here, they'll have a better outlook on life, and we won't lose the staff like that.
Okay.
I would start by cutting any unnecessary projects that's going to place greater strain on the residents here in this current climate. I would conduct a full audit of the departments just to identify any discrepancies and recover any misallocated funds, return that back to the margin line. And pretty much establish transparent and reasonable spending with community oversight. So I want the community to be involved in every aspect of the city function. Create committees that work alongside with council and then also with these department heads, just to see what areas need to be tightened up, and like just to see where's the money going, and just determine where that money gets allocated to. Hold quarterly live stream budget meetings that's open to the public, not just in person, but live stream them so that people can have access if they're at work, because, you know, we're working like 2 and 3 jobs just to be able to live here in Jersey City. And also prioritize closing out any outstanding tax balances and fines, restore the physical integrity, and rebuild the trust with the people. I think those are some of the areas that my administration would target first.
All right, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, look, I think we need to think about a single tax strategy between the Board of Education and the city. The 2 biggest drivers of property taxes are the city government and the school government. And I've been there, someone who sat on the school board budget. I understand what it is. And I understand that there's a lot of things that are there that need to be cut out. But the second thing I think we need to talk about is, you know, ending the corruption tax, right? People like Jim McGreevy have taken thousands of dollars from people like our local municipal trash collector. And so when we talk about, you know, taking that in-house, we need to make sure that there's someone who is not attached with the current vendors who are attached to the current system. And I say that because, you know, we have a website, paytoplayjc.com. You can see so many city contractors and vendors that have given donations to so many of my opponents. I mean, even Councilman Solomon, he's taken a $10,000 donation from an insurance broker, voted on their contract, then took an additional $40,000. We need to end the corruption tax.
You'll get a chance.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, so first, no one on the stage has a stronger record fighting corruption than I do. I haven't been endorsed by the strongest anti-corruption groups in the state, the Working Families Party, NJ Citizen Action, Laboratories of Democracy, because they have seen that I have been in the trenches for 8 years fighting corruption from the political machine. Look no further than I'm the only candidate on the stage that filed a lawsuit with Andy Kim, an amicus brief, to end the line, the corrupt system by which the political machine rigged the ballot. And I've got the strongest anti-corruption plan of anyone on this stage, including a municipal inspector general with subpoena power to go after corrupt actors in City Hall that won't be controlled by the mayor. So that's the type of rhetoric that we need. We need somebody who is actually delivering and not just has a website.
Look, I want to.
That's important.
I want
No,
to
no.
respond. I want to respond here, John.
But it's important. Let's just say in his website, he lists unions who fight for for a living wage as a corrupt vendor. He lists unions who fight for a living wage as a corrupt vendor. You can't trust that.
Yeah. Look, I think
If you call unions corrupt, you called unions corrupt.
Again, I think what our website does, it highlights all the really big donations that come into the city and says, hey, there might be a way that a union might have sway. Look, I know that from being on the school board, right? The teachers union gives massive donations. And, you know, there's teachers unions that have called other school board members to say, hey, this is the way I need you to vote. I was proud that when I was elected as the president of the school board, the teachers union fought against that presidency. But look, I mean, you know, when we're talking about semantics here, Councilman Solomon talks about not taking donations from developers. He takes donations from their lawyers. He takes donations from their architects. He takes donations from their engineers. He takes donations from the construction firms. To me, look, as a lawyer, I know a loophole when I see one. And so you can say your donors are not developers, but when you have taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from the real estate lobby,
False.
I don't know how you respond to that.
Look, it's completely and totally false. And you know, I expect that from Jim McGreevy, but not from you. But that's what we have here when people just want to win an election. You have my commitment. I have fought against developers every step of the way. Developers are funding a super PAC, funding money against me right now, and they are funding my opponents. So you know, if you look on the stage, who is going to go after developers? The answer is me. And I have a plan. We're going to have 20% affordable housing mandated in every new project. The only candidate on the stage that mandates it in every project, and the developers hate it. And they hate it because we are going to make sure that they build for all of us and not just for themselves. They have taken so much from our city, it's time they give back. And I am the candidate who will get tough on developers, and you know how you know? Ask them.
All right, guys.
So
Are we
long
good?
before James talked about 20%, when they did IZOs and could have done 20%, in fact, one of your running mates, Rolando, wanted to do 20%, but you didn't get 20%. You now have come to be believing in that, and that's a good thing. But here's a way you can save some dollars. As a county commissioner years ago, I made the county put together a process to bid all professional service contracts. Those architects you spoke about, those engineers you spoke about. When we put out for professional services. We bid those professional services, and that saves the county millions of dollars every year. That's something I guarantee you I'll do as the mayor, because quite frankly, as a county commissioner, I have the county do that for probably more than 2 decades already. So that's one. The other thing is, just today I saved everybody, or saved us $2 million. SciTech High School is coming up again. And whoever had an idea that the city should pay an extra $2 million a year in addition to the county taxes that we all pay, well, that made no sense. I had it on the record today, and the county agreed that it's illegal to make the city pay that $2 million, and the city will not pay that $2 million once that school gets built.
Yeah, and also on the SciTech City point, I want to make a really important point here, which is I remember opposing that school and that additional fee because the mayor announced that 50% of the seats were going to go to Jersey City students.
Which is illegal.
And I remember saying that it was illegal at the time,
Right.
and the council still went ahead with it, right? We need to make sure there are people who understand the laws and understand the ways that these projects can actually move forward.
And if I can just add two points there. First, voted against it
I
because
remember.
it was wrong, right? It wasn't the right thing for us. And then just one thing on the 20%, I do think there's a little bit of a distinction between Bill and I here, right? I'm mandating the 20%. Bill is only mandating it if a pilot is given. And I think that is a big difference.
But are you mandating it on projects that, as a matter of right, can already build 500 units?
We are going to.
How do you do that?
You can. You put it in the zoning code.
No,
You say-
but they, as a matter of right, could file today. You're going to amend it you're going to have to amend every redevelopment plan.
Correct.
Okay. And how long is that going to take?
So existing planning documents, so the viewers at home, existing planning board approvals you can't amend, but you can amend anything that doesn't have it. So that's why you need to do it. That's how you get thousands of affordable units.
I didn't ask you that question. I said, how long is it going to take you to amend? Do you know how many redevelopment plans are in the city? It's probably 20 that you have to amend. It's going to take months. They're all going to file to put up whatever they're allowed to do.
We have amended plans across the board before. We'll do it again. And the key is that commitment to deliver thousands of affordable units. Again, with those rents 1,000 and under, rents 1,500 and under.
All right, guys,
that's how you
we're-
deliver, and that's my
look,
commitment.
I have real sites with
Folks.
real amount of units
Hello.
to deliver 2,800.
We're like almost
Relax,
out of
relax.
time.
This ain't a wrestling match. To deliver 2,800
Not yet.
units. Not yet, but
We're almost out of time. We're going to close.
Can I just say this?
All right.
I want us to really listen to the public, because like I said, I've been dealing with affordable housing, and not everybody want them in their community. So I think we need to go back to the community and see exactly how much affordability do they want. We saying we're going to do 20%, but I started with 20%, and some neighborhoods did not want it
But do we know why they don't want them?
because of the color of our skin.
well, that's wrong.
Well, that's
wrong, yeah.
wrong.
Sometimes we have to do things even if the community doesn't want it. That's
I know
crazy.
it's wrong. I know it's wrong.
They don't get
And
to
this is
determine
something
that.
that we need to talk about.
So,
And that's
Bill,
what I'm saying. I've been dealing with
folks.
this a while, and this is part of the
This is a
problem.
debate.
It's
I like this.
racism
It
when
is.
it comes to affordability.
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
It's there.
There
Yeah,
you
and I
go.
think that's why we need to actually have affordable housing in every single neighborhood.
Yes.
Actually prevent neighborhood groups from saying we can discriminate against affordable
They
housing.
can't
We need to just say, look,
redline.
we
That's
need to do it
modern day
across the city.
redlining. They can't determine who moves in
They
and who
can't
moves
determine,
out.
but you'd be surprised the challenges that I have trying to get affordability in so many areas.
Look, you-
And I know my counterpart is here, and I know he can testify to some of those issues, because I never forgot when we were in a community meeting, and Rolando was the council president at the time, a gentleman stood up in the back and said, "We don't want them here."
Right.
Do you hear me?
And how
So
many
if we-
projects
if-
have had to even 10%?
That's right.
How many have even done the 10%
right.
since you guys adopted it?
Yeah,
Give me a
so
list of
fair.
them.
Yes.
Give me a list of them that have
We
been
have
done.
Garden State,
Okay.
okay? We have Tercel, they
How many
did it.
units? Well,
20,
Okay,
11,
okay.
we did those. Garden State, we did twice. They have 9.
How many
So-
high rises?
I'm sorry. If they're going to
No,
be
no, no,
here in
no,
Jersey
no.
City, they got to
But you-
integrate.
no, neighborhood,
But
right?
you saying,
No,
did
that's
we
what
do
I'm saying.
any?
No,
And we
I
did.
apologize.
All right,
In any
I've
high
done it.
rise, in any high rise project, how many have you done?
The house.
So,
One.
They got 100.
any of you guys want to do closing statements, or
Well, we're out of time, right? We're out of time.
it's going to run out? But the stream will continue. Bill, you were the first.
So I like this. This was a lively debate.
It was pretty lively.
Again, lifelong Jersey City resident. How many? You tell me I only have 20 seconds.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, it goes after
got a
streaming,
minute?
so you can keep going.
Okay.
Well, I could go on for 10 minutes. No. So, lifetime resident, 35 years of legislative experience, hands-on. There's nobody up here, no disrespect to anybody, who is hands-on as I am. There's somebody right now in my office living because I can't find them a place to live. I've taken people to hotels on weekends because they did have no other way to get to a hotel, and I called up the number from the county to make sure we have them a place to go. I'm all about being hands-on, and I'm going to raise a point today. November 1st, folks, 22,300 families in Jersey City, no food stamps. Today at my
Right.
commissioner meeting, I put it on the record. I demanded that they put together a task force immediately. They say they're doing stuff internally. We need internally and externally. Because right now, they're just sending you to a bunch of pantries. God help us. There'll be hundreds of people lined up at pantries on November 1st when they find out that the card doesn't work, and there won't be enough food for them. So all of us need to be hands-on this outside of our campaign to come together and figure out how are we going to address this with the insanity of Donald Trump cutting food stamps from 22,300 people that live in Jersey City.
Thank you, Commissioner. Never boring. All right, Council President.
Well, I think you should vote for me because I do have the experience. I've been in government for at least 13 years. I've been a pastor over 30 years. I've been in the medical profession over 12 years. Part of what I do is always give back to the city. My policies have been there. I'm an advocate for affordable housing. I'm an advocate for youth. I'm an advocate for, you need me to say something? Oh, I didn't know if you was.
No.
Oh, okay,
sorry, continue.
okay. Oh, that's okay. I'm an advocate for small businesses. I have been around for a decade. I see what Bill is saying with the food shortage. That's what I'm talking about, 2025 project. Nobody is speaking about that. So we need to speak about that. So I am Joyce Waterman. I am running for mayor. I am firm, flexible, and I will get the job done. Please vote for me, 1A.
Thank you. Christina?
Jersey City, you have the opportunity before you to pick the person that's going to produce the Jersey City that you want to see. My agenda is to uplift our community, to celebrate the diversity that we have here, and make all parts of Jersey City equitable. I believe in putting people first and not the developers. I plan to restore transparency, fairness, and opportunity in every neighborhood here in Jersey City. My focus is to rebuild the trust within the local government, protect residents from displacement, uplift the youth and the seniors through strong programs and partnerships, and have the people to collaborate alongside government and public safety. I am committed to expanding access to affordable housing and supporting the enrichment of the school education system. I will ensure that Jersey City growth benefits everyone, not just the developers and not just the well-connected. My name is Christina Freeman, and I want to be your next mayor. May I have your vote this November 4th. To learn more about my platform, you can visit my website at freeman2025.vote. Thank you.
Appreciate it. What's up?
Look, this is a campaign allowing the people of Jersey City to dream bigger. When I was growing up in Jersey City, when I was 4 years old, my mom was going to go buy groceries. This was right after 9/11. And on the corner, a group of boys jumped her. And they jumped her simply because she was wearing the hijab. And for many years, she actually didn't leave our home because of how scared she felt in our neighborhood. And we had a choice. We could have left Jersey City and said, hey, this is a city that doesn't want to make us feel welcome. It's a place where we don't belong. But instead, my parents chose service. My mom has been a union teacher for the past 24 years. My father has been a union postal worker for the past 23 years. They taught me the importance of service. And so growing up, I always understood how important it was to help others. This city elected me when I was 20 years old. It gave me another chance when I was 23 to be the president of the Board of Education. And now, at 28, my mom came to me with this story and said, I went back to that same exact corner where I was jumped. And there were people who ran up to me who were so excited to vote for my son as the next mayor of Jersey City. And so I want everyone in Jersey City to think about that dream. The dream that you can come here as an immigrant, be raised in our public schools, study at some of the most prestigious universities in the world, and come back to serve as the next mayor. That is the dream I want for every single child here in Jersey City. Thank you.
Appreciate it. And Councilman Solomon?
Yeah. So thank you to my colleagues for being here. We want to acknowledge that the former governor didn't show up to this debate, including the prior debate that we just have. And that's a shame because we have real ideas and a real exchange that we need to be having here in Jersey City. Now, I am proud to be running a campaign that is focused on delivering an affordable Jersey City. Simply put, Jersey City has become too expensive, and your next mayor has to be focused every single day on making your life more affordable. And so we are going to deliver an affordable Jersey City. We are going to force developers to build genuinely affordable rents at $1,000 a month and rents at $1,500 a month. We're going to cap rent increases from corporate landlords, and we're going to enforce our rent control laws. And if you're paying your property taxes, we're going to crack down on the developers and contractors who think they don't need to do it, and we're going to fight the corruption that has risen your taxes too much. And I can do it because I am the candidate on the stage with genuine independence. Independence from the developers, independence from the landlords, and independence from the machine. I've beaten them before, and I'll beat them again on your behalf to deliver an affordable Jersey City. So on November 4th, I ask for your vote to be your next mayor.
All right, thank you very much. And listen, thank you for the 5 candidates that were able to attend. I think we had a very thorough and lively discussion. Really appreciate your time. I know it's that time of year, so thank you for giving me 90 minutes. Really appreciate it. Thank you to Hudson Media Group, Pat and the team, my home away from home. They're great guys. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who's watching now, who will be watching, hopefully very soon. So with that, I'll just say bad times don't last, but bad guys do. That's why you need me, and I need you. Have a great night.